Good morning. It's Friday morning, and we're out here on the front porch. Today we're going to read Matthew 15:32 through 39. Then Jesus called his disciples to him and said, I have compassion on the crowd, because they have been with me now 3 days and have nothing to eat. I'm unwilling to send them away hungry, lest they faint on the way. And the disciples said to him, Where are we to get enough bread in such a desolate place to feed so great a crowd? And Jesus said to them, How many loaves do you have? They said, 7, and a few small fish. And directing the crowd to sit on the ground, he took the 7 loaves and the fish, and having given thanks, he broke them and gave them to the disciples. And the disciples gave them to the crowds. And they all ate and were satisfied. And they took up 7 baskets full of broken pieces left over. Those who ate were 4,000 men, besides women and children. And after sending away the crowds, he got into the boat and went to the region of Magadan. So immediately the question arises for us as we read this story today is, why does Matthew include this twice in his gospel? So there's several options. First is, did it happen twice? Did he feed 5,000 and then sometime later feed 4,000 men plus women and children? Or does Matthew include it again because it suits his editorial purposes? Or is Matthew just clueless? You get to pick, because no one knows. There is no good answer. And all the answers have a certain there's a little uncertainty to them, let's put it that way. So whatever you choose to believe, but we'll take the text as it stands. And here today, Jesus has fed this 4,000 people. First of all, we see he has compassion on the crowds. In the earlier story, he said, well, you feed them. And the disciples are like, what? With what? But here he says, what do you have got? And they tell him, and he takes it and uses it. He says he gives thanks and he blesses it and he breaks it and he passes it. It's the same language that we see at the Last Supper. So it's clearly sort of a reflection in Matthew's mind of the Eucharist. This is what Jesus does with us when we're gathered. He feeds us, and even though he only has a few loaves, he feeds us well, feeds us our daily bread. So I think that's the thing we might take from this. He had compassion on this crowd and he fed them. He has compassion on us and he feeds us with our daily bread. Now, what does that actually mean? First of all, it means we eat. And most of us in this country eat very well. We certainly eat more than we need to eat. The obesity levels in this country indicate that we don't eat the right things, but we eat. So we get food, that's one. And we've got systems set up so that those who can't buy food or eat can get something to eat, like at the corner table, which does a very, very good ministry on a shoestring budget. And I encourage all of you to contribute to their fundraisers and cooperate with them and help them out in any way that you can. So we eat. The second thing is that he feeds us spiritually in the sacrament, which in our congregation is about once a month, give or take, like 15 times a year. We get fed there in a way that draws us close to him and feeds us with his grace, and that's important. And we find that he feeds us our daily bread as we go about our morning prayers and we pray and we ask him to be with us and help us, and he sustains us in that way. And so in those 3 ways, we get our daily bread. Let's not forget that then, and let's not forget his compassion, and let's be sure we give thanks to him for our daily bread. See you tomorrow.